Hi guys. So this one is called dividing fractions. It is very similar to the multiplying fractions, like insanely similar to the multiplying fractions, because you don't actually divide fractions. You can't. You have to make them into multiplication problems in order to solve them in the first place. So number one, flip the second fraction. Number two, multiply across. Number three, simplify. Okay, so what ends up happening is this. I have 2/3 divided by 1/4. I keep the 2/3. My division sign becomes a multiplication sign, and 1/4 flips 4/1. It's called the reciprocal. You'll hear that used a lot. That just means flip it. Reciprocal, flip it. But other than that, it works exactly the same way that the multiplication worked of it. 2 times 4/3 times 1. 2 times 4 is 8. 3 times 1 is 3. Now, if you're paying attention in the multiplying fractions, you almost never ended up with a fraction that was larger than 1. You almost never ended up with an improper fraction. When you divide fractions, you will end up with an improper fraction a lot. So this is a case in point. I have 8/3. So I need 2. Go 3 into 8. Goes how many times? Let's go with 2. Because 2 times 3 is 6. 8 minus 6 is 2. So we bring it up here. 2/3, 8/3. So 2 and 2/3 is actually our answer for that problem. What if we have this? Go with 5/6 divided by 2. I hear you. Those aren't both fractions. Yeah, but one of them is. And so we have to treat them both like they're fractions. Remember that 2 has an invisible 1 right underneath it. So we bring it down. 5/6 stays the same. Division sign becomes multiplication. And 2/1, flip it. So it is now 1/2. 5 times 1 over 6 times 2. 5 times 1 is 5. 6 times 2 is 12. So 5/6 divided by 2 is 5/12. Okay, very simple, very straightforward. That's how you do division of fractions. Now, if you're paying attention with multiplying fractions, with multiplying mixed numbers, dividing mixed numbers, almost the same. Dividing mixed numbers. And yes, I keep referring back to the multiplying them, because when it comes to fractions, multiplying and dividing are pretty much the same thing. They are really close to each other. You can't separate them. You have to have both. Okay, so number one, change all mixed numbers into improper fractions. Now you will note, I don't say start with flipping things. We do not start with flipping things. If you have a mixed number, you have to change it to an improper fraction first. Then we flip things. So number 2 is flip the second fraction. Number 3 is multiply across. And number 4 is simplify. Okay? So, the only thing that is different between dividing and multiplying with mixed numbers is number 2, where you flip the second fraction. Otherwise, you end up doing exactly the same thing for both of them. Let's look at an example. Let's use this color. 2 1/3 divided by 1 2/5. Okay. First thing I need to do, change these into improper fractions. So 2 times 3 is 6, plus 1 is 7 over 3, divided by 1 times 5 is 5, plus 2 is 7 over 5. Now I can flip. 7/3 stays the same. Division sign becomes a multiplication sign. 7/5 flips. 5 over 7. Some of you are already noticing something that I could get rid of. A number that is on both the top and the bottom of this problem. That's 7. You see how it's in both places? So I end up with literally 1 times 5, which is 5, over 3 times 1, which is 3. So let's divide that out. 3 goes into 5 one time. So 5 minus 3 is 2. 2/3. 1 2/3 ends up being our answer. Okay? Now, let me see. Let me go with, if we have, I'm trying to think of oh, yeah, this is the other thing that I wanted to show you. Because all of them end up this way, okay? They all end up this way. We don't need 10 million examples. You solve it this way every single time. All right? But sometimes, if the book is feeling particularly ornery, it'll give you this problem. 2/3 over 3/4. You know what that is? It's a fraction made up of 2 fractions. I know, just to be a pain. The way that we actually write this so that we can actually solve this is 2/3 divided by 3/4. It's what it actually means. And then we take the whole thing apart and we go, okay, fine. So the 2/3 stays the same. The division becomes multiplication. The 3/4 flips and becomes 4 over 3. So 4 times 2 is 8. 3 times 3 is 9. And so this 2/3 over 3/4 is actually equal to 8/9. All right. So there are a couple of pages down underneath it that you can try out yourself. I'll talk to you later. Bye.